About a year ago this week, it was a year ago this week, it was St. Patrick's Day. We were coming out of our dress rehearsal, and the Palo Alto schools had decided to close. So we had to close. So instead of a big play, we shut down. Uh, the dress rehearsal was the only thing we had to show for 6 weeks of rehearsal and expenditures and costumes. And so we immediately went into spring break. All our faculty learned what Zoom was and how to use it. And we came back beginning of April, and we were 100% on Zoom. And to be honest with you, we didn't feel any impact at the school. It was seamless. No families left. We finished the school year. We had a wonderful end of the year celebration. And then we went into summer. And it was very quiet over the summer. We decided we had learned about the possibility of applying for a reopening waiver, a waiver for our school. And that turned into a really big project of a 26 or so page document that we gave to the County Department of Public Health, and they sent it up to the state to a group of attorneys. And we had to cross all our T's, dot all our I's. Long story short, we sent it in. We got an email back. Thank you very much. We received your documents. So we wait. And during this time, the parents are writing to us and saying, what's going to happen? Are you guys going to be open? Is it going to be a hybrid? What are you going to offer? We said, we don't know yet. So about 2 days before school's about to begin, we haven't heard from them. So Helen writes to them, calls them, says, we never heard from you guys, and we know you received it because we acknowledge it. She said, no, we never received it. Oh, you sent it to the wrong department, or there was some bureaucratic snafu. We said, OMG. What? Long story short, she put it on the fast track. We got the opening 2 days before school started. The first day of school was that day when we had the wildfires and the atmospheric inversion, and it was orange. It was like a day from Mars. That was our first day of school, but kindergarten through 6th grade could come. And we were grateful for it, and many of our parents were. But we offered a hybrid because some of the parents said, but the child's grandparent is living at home. We would prefer to be at home, be online. But what I left out was that around mid-August on, families started to decide to basically pull out. And so we lost a lot of families. And so it was very shaky there for a while. Long story short, we just rallied, and from day one, we've been here in person, offering hybrid. All our faculty have done an amazing job. We have our Fridays are online. We do our all-school circle online via Zoom. We have someone doing yoga, someone doing the Awaken Ready, someone doing music. Craig, Tandava, Marguerite, Letty, Satyavati, different teachers take turns. I'm kind of the DJ behind the scenes, spotlighting people, making people co-host or host. We've enjoyed a really, really good year. Some of our kids, like I said, are at home. Now with COVID kind of waning, more of our children are coming to school, but they have an option in the middle school. It's totally up to them whether they come or not. For a lot of different reasons, they may not come, but more often than not, they do come. My experience is it's much better to have them in person for them, for the school, for learning. It's hard to focus when it's on Zoom. I have a hard time. It's just, there's like this veil or fog. And I try to focus, and I'm really motivated. It could be an Education for Life conference, it could be a Sunday service, but for me, it's like, yeah. So that's what we've been doing, and now, in the last few months, people are coming back. People are enrolling, not just for next year, but they're also saying, can we come back now? And so we've picked up 5, I think, or 6 children here in the grammar school since the beginning part of the year, and they're here with us now. Some of them weren't with us last year, but so it's been I would describe it as kind of miraculous. And I think our families are happy, faculty's happy, and now we're, as an example of being creative, we're doing our play, the Esther play, like we did last year, but we're doing it completely on film, social distancing, shooting it all outdoors, in between rain and wind, and it's been an absolute blast, fun, yeah.
Did you fear at the start of COVID that you might lose something from the school culture, which is such a central part of the school?
It's so, COVID is so unknown, and it's just it's just so new. I did not. Well, I would say that the challenge is when children are completely online. That's a big challenge. What they really need is being with each other. That's a huge part of education for life, is children interacting, field trips. But no one asked for COVID. So like us all, we've all just said, oh, you either go with it or, change comes. And this is a good example of change coming. But to answer your question, I didn't even have that fear because I didn't, it's just all so new. Zoom is completely new to me. Not anymore, but it was. Hybrid classroom is in some ways harder. It's more work. You got some kids that are just online where you can using Google Classroom. It all works. It's not that hard to master it. But that interaction, being in the same room with children, masks on all day, windows open, air purifiers going, socially distancing, stable cohorts, all these new terms, all these new practices. But we have a new boy this year, but he's been in person all year. He's new to the middle school. He seems to have adapted beautifully. We put a lot of effort into that reopening waiver so that we could have them here. If a family decides for their own reasons to be outside, that's fine. But it's really good to have children in the classroom learning with a teacher.
Mm-hmm. What percentage of the kids are in the school now?
Oh, I'd say maybe 90%.
Really?
Yeah, are here in person. I have about 4 in the middle school, but I have more than most. But I think there's a smattering on all the different grades just because of grandma's living at home or something. There's, some, serious, legitimate concern on the part of the family. So we respect that and go to some lengths. Hybrid is not easy. You're talking to children in the classroom. You're also talking to the camera. You have to have the sound on. If you show a video, there's just that whole interface. But all our teachers have done a remarkable job, so.
They've adapted.
Totally.
Have to. Survive.
I go around every few weeks and drop off supplies at about 4 or 5 students' homes. Drop off a bag, pick up a bag, and try to stay connected. And the children are filming their parts in the play at home, some of them. One will come just by himself. We'll film him in the courtyard. We'll splice the scene together. I think just everyone, due to COVID, has risen their energy to meet the challenge. Yeah.
In talking with Shama Kellogg, the principal of the high school, one thing she noted is that in many schools face a problem with using Zoom, your remote instruction, that the kids don't want to answer questions because their school culture, they're afraid they'll be put down or laughed at or mocked or whatever, whereas she said that at the high school, Living Wisdom High School, they weren't having that problem. Have you found that too in the school?
One of my students on Zoom, I asked them at the beginning, we had that sample size last year from March till June, and we noticed that there's kind of actually a small percentage of students, I would say, do better on Zoom. That's a very small percentage. They just are more comfortable at home or whatever it is. I don't even know. But yeah, having your camera on and interfacing in a class discussion, part of it is there's a delay, an internet delay, and there's a lot of factors that go into that, but I think have received fantastic parental support. Emails are going back and forth. We notice um, they really like to leave their cameras off in the middle school. But at least one of the students, there's only about 3 or 4 that regularly are on Zoom for me, and then others a smattering here and there. But one of them, just whenever I ask a question, I get the digital thumbs up. It's just good because otherwise, I've left chat on all year, and some of the teachers are like, can we turn chat off? But I'm thinking these kids need some sort of outlet. They're in this little kind of bubble. The kids are here live. They can hear conversations. We've made some adaptations with tech. We have a microphone so that they can hear things. We've tried to train the teachers to repeat what is being said. It's a challenge. I don't want to minimize it. It's a big challenge. Having students on Zoom, it's a challenge for them. I look forward to the day when they say no more. You don't need to, you'll be safe with the vaccine or whatever way this thing rolls out. Mm-hmm. I think it's second. I think we're doing the best we can with what the hand we've been dealt with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The school play has always been the major event of the year. And how's COVID affected that?
Well, we just knew we couldn't do a play with rehearsals with children in tight quarters on stage, so we came up with the idea we'll do the play that we never were able to perform last year. We had the script, we had the costumes, but we would make a movie, and it would be shot entirely outdoors. We thought about going off on location, but then it's very difficult. You can't even put a group of kids in a van to take them to a location. We have 65 kids in the school. We have the kindergartners dancing up to the 8th graders. Many of them have multiple roles. So it was decided, Rose stepped up, and we just thought, okay, once again, it would not have been our choice, but here we have a situation. Let's film it entirely on our campus. Children can get into costume, come over, they can go right back to class. It's safe, There's a lot of downtime in a film. I'm done shooting. What do I do? Well, we need you in a little while, so don't go anywhere. It's a completely safe environment. Rose chose 6, 7 spots where we can do it nice tight shots so that we don't get another building or a FedEx truck driving by. Then we deal with the background noise, the trucks, the motorcycles, the horns honking, and the sameness of the shot, the echo of the building. The Sangha was gracious enough to let us use the yoga studio for costumes for assembling and getting children into costume and whatnot. Of course, a lot of data has come out since that time about how it is, if you follow the protocols, it's pretty darn safe to have children in school. So we feel good that we've done our due diligence with safety, but we've just done something entirely new. We've never done this before. So we're making a film about the play that we would have been putting on. So scene by scene, we figure out where are we going to shoot it, how are we going to shoot it. We start with the mid shot, far shot, then we go mid, then we go close up, then we go, did you hear the truck drive by in the middle? We have to do that one again. And then, out of costume, back to math class. Wonderful. Today was a perfect example. Talk about life experience. There's just one child didn't come to school today, so that threw off the whole schedule. She was in all the scenes. So, okay, she can't make it. Another student stepped up and said, I can play that part. So she was in the prologue. But then the other girl came to school, and Rose was asking students to get into costume. No, don't get into costume. No, get back into costume. It wasn't anyone's fault, but the kids were just very flexible, very adaptable, very willing. And that's life. You show up to work, but things aren't ready. And so I think it's really education for life. It was just, that's the way things actually work in the world. We're ready for you. No, we're not ready for you. Oh yeah, we are ready for you. Let's go. Ready, take, act. Rolling. It's just, the kids are just being themselves. They're sitting there like this, and then Rose says rolling, and then she goes action. They're just like, they just pull it in, they deliver their lines, and then she goes cut, and they relax and go back to being 7, 8, 9 years old. So it's, in some ways, I'm enjoying it even more than the play. It's different. They don't know the whole process yet. They haven't seen the finished product. This will be a polished movie with special effects, not many, a soundtrack, quality. So we'll see. They love the play, the experience of a live audience. Again, you can't touch that. But COVID, no one's asking any of us what we want right now. It's all about what's needed, and that's what's needed. So they're doing it, and I think the film will be really good.
You said they love the play.
Yeah,
They do,
Yeah.
just as much as if they were performing for an audience.
I mean they love the. If we were doing a play this year, I think if they had their choice, they would prefer to do a live performance because the adrenaline. See, the play builds. It builds. Today would have been the full dress rehearsal, and then we would have been exhausted, and we would have had the dress rehearsal Friday, and the full hair and makeup today, and the big cast photo. There's all these traditions and markers. Then tomorrow would be kind of a day to relax a little bit. Wednesday would be our opening for school groups. We would probably have 100, 150 people in the audience, all children, mostly children. Then again, Thursday would be a down day, relax. Friday night, big performance. And then the huge one Saturday night where we film and there's people and there's, the courtyard scene and all the wonderful traditions that we've done over 28 years. So this year, it's going to be a movie. And as you get closer to the end, you don't have that big build-up. You just have, okay, that's a wrap. That's the end of filming. Then it goes into post-production, goes into editing. The kids today said, how long will it take to edit? And someone said, well, you should have it by the first Friday of the spring break. And I'm thinking, yeah, I have jury duty that week. But anyway, it will be a big project to edit this film and to make something worthwhile. And at first we were like, somebody said, well, we'll have like a home movie quality. But because of Rose and because of the setting and because of the children and because of Asha with costumes, it's like, no, this footage it really has potential. So, and Tandiva has been doing music with them on Zoom. You talk about challenging that delay. You're singing, but there's a delay on the internet. Stanford's been studying this forever, and it's really hard to get everyone singing. You can't get everyone singing. So he's working with it, and he's syncing up that soundtrack, and he's going to work his magic. So behind the scenes, almost as much work. Yesterday would have been build the set day, darken the windows, all these markers. This one is more, it's all about film, but film is such a part of what these kids are going to be growing up in. Zoom and, so it's a really good experience. I think in me personally, I'm enjoying it more. I've always wanted to be a cinematographer. I started making films in high school. I go back to 8mm days with the sprockets, and you would cut the film and cut out the scene, the outtake, and then you would put the two pieces of film together and put the little plastic thing and try to line up the sprockets. And if you didn't line them up right, you'd be watching the film and it would hang up and the frame would melt in front of the light bulb. I mean, that's the old, now it's click, drag, move, add a sound effect, add titles. But one of my students is going to help me edit the film. He's pretty darn good at editing, and he does these wacky things. He's particularly interested in doing the blooper reel. And the blooper reel could be as long as the film, if not longer, because we're sometimes we just laugh so hard on the set because kids, we're all messing up, but that's the beauty of film. It's just like, take it again, do another take. In theater, you mess up. I mean, it's live, you move on, Film is like, no, we have to do that again. No, we have to do it again. Seems like it's the third take each time. Rose will just first take is kind of a throwaway. Second take is like, wow, that's better. And then she'll say, now this one. And I don't know what percentage, probably 70% of the third takes have been the ones that we'll use probably. Then we'll splice in the wide shot with the close-ups and maybe add a little music in the background. I don't know.
Sounds like the spirit of the school is really high.
It is. And I think they're in the middle of something they don't even know. They won't know until they see the film. But yeah, the parents, it's been amazing. We energize every morning. We meditate. I think that these generation of kids will look back on this as, it was formative. It was not what anyone wanted, but we've had it real easy for a really long time, and I think people grow more and better when they're challenged, and they have not complained, and wearing masks, being completely isolated from their friends for a year at this age. Psychologists say, wow, in particular middle schoolers, this is the age where they're reaching out to their peer group is everything. So we've been blessed to be able to provide an environment for the majority of them where they can be with their friends and be at snack, be at lunch, be in this movie, share an experience like that. And I think they'll look back on it as, wow, that was there's a sign, I have it on my Understanding People Google page, but it's from the 1918 pandemic, and it's just a woman wearing a mask that says, wear a mask or go to jail. So we've been through this before. My aunt just died. She was born in 1918. So she was born for the first pandemic. She got COVID in the hospital. She was 100 years old. She beat it. She died a year later, but so it's I think they will have some very interesting memories of their adolescence during the pandemic of 2020.
Mhm.